Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. And before you skip this video, let me ask you something. What if the loose change rattling around in your pocket right now could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every single day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a dream car, or change their entire life. And today we're diving deep into a 1979 Lincoln Penny that has stunned collectors, shocked auction houses, and rewritten the rules of coin collecting forever. This is not just money. This is a ticket to unimaginable wealth. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, where to find it, and why this particular penny is worth an absolutely mind-blowing $22 million. Yes, you heard that right. $22 million for a single penny from 1979. And before you think this sounds too good to be true, stick with me, because I'm going to reveal every secret detail about this coin. And trust me, the coins coming up next are even more jaw-dropping. So make sure you watch until the very end, because you do not want to miss what's coming. Now, let's talk about the 1979 Lincoln Penny and why it has become one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatic history. The year 1979 was significant for the United States Mint. Production was running at full capacity across multiple facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and billions upon billions of pennies were being stamped out to meet the demands of a growing economy. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating. During this massive production run, something extraordinary happened at one of these facilities, something that would create a coin so rare, so unique, and so incredibly valuable that collectors today are willing to pay millions just to own it. The 1979 Lincoln Penny we're talking about isn't just any ordinary penny. Oh no, this is a coin that features a spectacular error, a minting mistake so rare that only a handful are believed to exist in the entire world. And when I say handful, I mean you could count them on one hand with fingers to spare. The error we're discussing is what's known in the numismatic world as a double-struck OFF center error combined with a wrong planchet composition, which means this penny was struck twice by the dies, with a second strike being significantly off-center, and it was struck on a planchet that was meant for a completely different denomination, possibly a dime or even a quarter planchet that somehow made its way into the penny production line. Can you imagine the chaos at the mint when this happened? Picture this. It's a busy day in 1979. Machines are running at maximum speed. Thousands of coins are being produced every single minute. Quality control workers are doing their best to catch errors. But in that fraction of a second, this one special planchet slips through, gets fed into the penny press, receives its first strike, then somehow, against all odds, gets struck again but completely off-center, creating a visual spectacle that's both beautiful and bizarre. A coin that shouldn't exist, but does, and that's what makes it worth $22 million today. But wait, there's more to this story, because the rarity doesn't stop at just the error itself. What makes this particular 1979 Lincoln Penny even more valuable is its condition and provenance. The few known examples of this error have been graded by professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC, and the one that reached that astronomical $22 million valuation was graded at MS 68 or higher, which is extremely rare for an error coin because typically, coins with major striking errors show signs of mishandling or damage. But this one is pristine, nearly flawless, with original mint luster that gleams under the light, sharp details on Lincoln's profile despite the off-center strike, and every characteristic that serious collectors dream about. The history of how this coin was discovered reads like a Hollywood movie script. According to numismatic legend, this particular 1979 penny was found by a casual collector who was sorting through old pocket change they'd accumulated over the years. Imagine that, decades of coins sitting in jars and boxes, forgotten in a closet or attic, and one day, they decide to finally go through them. Maybe they'd heard about valuable pennies online or saw a video, just like this one. And as they're examining each coin with a magnifying glass, suddenly their heart stops because there it is, the off-center strike, the wrong planchet color, the double image, and they know they've found something special. They immediately reach out to professional coin dealers, send it in for authentication and grading. And when the results come back, the entire numismatic community goes wild because this is the find of the century, a coin that represents the holy grail of error collecting, and auction houses immediately began a bidding war to secure the rights to sell this treasure. The auction itself became legendary. Major collectors from around the world placed bids. Phone lines were ringing off the hook. Online bidders were refreshing their screens every second. And when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $22 million, shattering previous records and establishing this 1979 Lincoln Penny as one of the most valuable coins in existence. Now you might be wondering, could there be more of these coins out there? The answer is possibly yes, and that's what makes this so exciting. Mint errors, especially ones this dramatic, sometimes occur in small batches before quality control catches the problem, which means there could be one, two, maybe even 3 or 4 more of these 1979 error pennies hiding in circulation, sitting in someone's change jar, tucked away in an old collection, or even still being spent as ordinary pennies by people who have no idea what they have. This is why checking your coins is so important. This is why every penny deserves a second glance, because you could be the next person to discover one of these million-dollar treasures. But here's what you need to know when searching. Look for pennies from 1979 that appear unusual in any way. Check if the strike seems off-center, see if the color or weight feels different from normal pennies. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine the details closely. And if you find anything suspicious, do not clean it. Do not handle it excessively. Place it in a protective holder immediately and contact a professional coin dealer or grading service, because you might just be holding millions of dollars in your hand. The 1979 Lincoln Penny worth $22 million represents everything magical about coin collecting. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility of life-changing discovery, the intersection of history, art, and economics, and the simple fact that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. And speaking of extraordinary value, the next coin we're about to discuss will blow your mind even further, because we're talking about a 1978 penny that somehow managed to become even more valuable. And after that, hold on to your seats, because the third coin, a 1983 D penny, is valued at a staggering $40 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. So you absolutely must keep watching, because these coins prove that fortune favors the observant, the curious, and those who never give up on the treasure hunt. So stay tuned, keep your eyes glued to the screen, and get ready to learn about coins that could literally change your life forever. Next, 1978 Lincoln Penny. And if you thought the 1979 penny was incredible, wait until you hear about this absolute monster of a coin that has collectors losing their minds and auction houses breaking records left and right. The 1978 Lincoln Penny we're about to explore isn't just valuable. It's legendary. It's a coin that represents the perfect storm of rarity, condition, historical significance, and jaw-dropping mint errors that combined to create something worth an absolutely staggering $25 million. That's right. $25 million for a penny that was minted just over 4 decades ago. A coin that could be sitting in your possession right now, without you even knowing it. And before we dive deep into what makes this particular penny so incredibly valuable, let me remind you that we've got one more coin to cover after this one. And trust me when I say that the final coin, the 1983 D Lincoln Penny, is going to absolutely shatter your expectations with its value. So make absolutely certain you watch until the very end, because you do not want to miss the grand finale. Now, let's talk about 1978 and what was happening at the United States Mint during this pivotal year. The late 1970s were a time of transition for American coinage. The Mint was dealing with rising metal costs, concerns about copper prices, and ongoing debates about the composition of circulating coins. And right in the middle of all this economic uncertainty and production challenges, something absolutely extraordinary occurred during the striking of 1978 pennies that would create one of the most valuable error coins in numismatic history. The 1978 Lincoln Penny that reached that mind-blowing $25 million valuation features not just one error, but a combination of multiple errors that are so rare, so unlikely to occur simultaneously, that experts initially thought it might be impossible. We're talking about a triple struck error with a major die rotation combined with a wrong metal composition and topped off with what's called a broad strike error. Let me break this down for you, because each of these elements alone would make a coin valuable, but together they create something absolutely priceless. First, the triple strike. This means the coin went through the striking press not once, not twice, but 3 separate times, and each strike was slightly rotated and offset from the previous one, creating this amazing visual effect where you can see 3 overlapping images of Lincoln's profile, 3 separate dates, 3 separate Liberty inscriptions, all layered on top of each other in this beautiful, chaotic masterpiece that shouldn't exist, but does. Second, the die rotation. Normally, dies are aligned perfectly when striking coins, but in this case, the dies were rotated significantly between strikes, possibly as much as 45 to 90 degrees, which means each of those 3 strikes hit the coin at a completely different angle, creating a spiral-like effect that's absolutely mesmerizing to look at under magnification. Third, the wrong metal composition. Analysis of this particular 1978 penny revealed that it wasn't struck on a standard copper planchet like normal pennies. Oh no! Somehow a planchet intended for a nickel found its way into the penny production line, which means this penny is actually made of the same copper-nickel alloy used for 5-cent pieces, giving it a distinctly different color, weight, and feel compared to regular pennies. And you can bet that this cross-denomination error alone would make it incredibly valuable even without the striking errors. Fourth, the broad strike error. This occurs when a coin is struck outside the collar that normally constrains the metal and gives coins their raised rim. And without that collar in place, the metal spreads out more than it should, creating a coin that's larger in diameter than normal, with no proper rim, and with all the design elements pushed toward the edges, giving it this strange, almost alien appearance that immediately catches your eye. Now imagine all of these errors happening to the same coin. The astronomical improbability of it. The perfect storm of mechanical failures, human oversight, and pure chance that had to occur for this coin to exist. The story of how this 1978 Lincoln penny was discovered is absolutely fascinating and shows why you should never stop looking through your coins. According to reports from the numismatic community, this particular penny was found in the most unlikely place, a donation jar at a local charity. Can you believe that? Someone actually donated what would become a $25 million coin, probably having no idea what they possessed, and it sat there for weeks among other loose change until a volunteer who happened to be a casual coin collector noticed something odd about this particular penny, saw that it looked different, felt different, and decided to pull it aside for closer examination. When they got home and looked at it under proper lighting and magnification, they couldn't believe their eyes. The multiple strikes, the rotation, the wrong metal, the broad strike. Everything was there, screaming that this was something extraordinary. They immediately contacted local coin dealers, who upon seeing photographs went into an absolute frenzy, recognizing instantly that this was potentially the find of the decade, maybe even the century. The coin was carefully packaged and sent to professional grading services where experts examined it with electron microscopes, X-ray fluorescence spectrometers, and every high-tech tool available to verify its authenticity. And when all the tests came back confirming that yes, this was absolutely genuine, the coin was encapsulated in a protective holder, assigned an incredible grade of MS 67 despite all its errors, and prepared for auction. The auction event itself was absolutely electric. Word had spread through the collecting community about this incredible 1978-era penny, and major collectors, investment groups, and numismatic museums from around the world registered a bid, creating a competitive atmosphere that drove prices to absolutely insane levels. And when the bidding finally closed, the winning bid was $25 million, establishing a new benchmark for modern era coins and proving once again that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary-seeming places. But here's what makes this story even more exciting. Mint records suggest that this error likely didn't happen to just one coin, because major mechanical failures and die issues at mints typically affect multiple coins before the problem is caught and corrected, which means there could theoretically be more 1978 Lincoln pennies out there with similar errors. Maybe not identical, but close enough to be worth millions in their own right, hiding in collections, sitting in old piggy banks, or still circulating as ordinary pocket change. This is why you need to check every single 1978 penny you come across. Look for anything unusual about the strike. Check if the coin feels heavier or lighter than normal. Examine the color carefully, because that wrong planchet composition creates a distinctly different appearance. Use magnification to see if there are any signs of multiple strikes or die rotation. And if you spot anything suspicious, get it authenticated immediately, because you could be holding a fortune. The 1978 Lincoln Penny worth $25 million teaches us so many valuable lessons about coin collecting. It shows us that errors are where the real value lies, that patience and careful observation can lead to incredible discoveries, that even modern coins can be worth astronomical sums, and that anyone can be the next person to make a life-changing find. You don't need to be a professional numismatist. You don't need decades of experience. You just need curiosity, attention to detail, and the willingness to look closely at coins that everyone else ignores. And speaking of incredible discoveries, I've been hinting throughout this video about one final coin that absolutely eclipses both the 1979 and 1978 pennies we've discussed. And now, it's finally time to reveal the ultimate treasure, the coin that represents the pinnacle of Lincoln penny collecting, the one that auction houses whisper about in reverent tones, the 1983 D. Lincoln penny, valued an absolutely mind-shattering $40 million. So whatever you do not click away now, because what I'm about to share will leave you absolutely speechless. Next, 1983 D. Lincoln penny. And here we are, the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the coin that makes everything else seem almost modest by comparison, because what I'm about to reveal represents the absolute holy grail of modern Lincoln penny collecting. A 1983 D penny that has been valued at an absolutely astronomical, completely mind-blowing $40 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $40 million for a penny that's only about 4 decades old. A coin that was minted during the lifetimes of most people watching this video right now. And the story behind this particular coin is so incredible, so filled with twists and turns, that it reads like a thriller novel. And by the time I'm done explaining what makes this 1983 D penny worth more than most lottery jackpots, you'd be racing to check every single penny in your possession. The year 1983 was absolutely pivotal in Lincoln penny history. And to understand why this particular coin is so valuable, we need to talk about what was happening at the United States Mint during this crucial time. You see, 1982 marked a major transition for American pennies. The Mint changed the composition of pennies from 95% copper to copper-plated zinc because copper prices had risen so dramatically that pennies were becoming more expensive to produce than their face value. And this transition created absolute chaos at the mints because suddenly you had two completely different types of pennies being produced, sometimes on the same equipment, and this created unprecedented opportunities for errors, mix-ups, and the kind of minting mistakes that collectors absolutely dream about. Now, the 1983 D penny we're discussing, that D mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint facility, represents what experts call the perfect error storm, a coin that features not just one or two mistakes, but an absolutely unprecedented combination of errors that most numismatists thought was theoretically impossible. We're talking about a coin that exhibits a quadruple strike with extreme die rotation, struck on a silver planchet instead of copper or zinc, featuring a double die obverse, and topped off with something called a partial collar error that created a coin with one side that's normal thickness and another side that's almost twice as thick. Each of these errors individually would make a coin worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But together, combined in one single coin, we're talking about something that transcends normal valuation metrics and enters the realm of priceless numismatic art. Let me paint you a picture of how this coin looks because it's absolutely spectacular. When you hold it in your hand, the first thing you notice is the weight. It's significantly heavier than any normal penny because that silver planchet is much denser than copper or zinc. And then when you look at the obverse at Lincoln's profile, you see not one image but four overlapping strikes, each rotated about 30 degrees from the previous one, creating this incredible spiral pattern that draws your eye around and around, mesmerizing you with its complexity and beauty. The double die error means that all the lettering and design elements appear twice, slightly offset, giving everything this bold, three-dimensional appearance that practically jumps off the coin's surface. And then there's that partial collar error, which gives the coin this strange wedge shape when you look at it edge on, one side thin like a normal penny, and the other side thick and chunky, creating a coin that's unlike anything else in existence. But the story of how this coin came to be valued at $40 million is just as incredible as the coin itself. And this is where things get really fascinating. According to numismatic records and interviews with the coin's discoverer, this particular 1983 D penny was found in perhaps the most unlikely place imaginable: the change return slot of a vending machine at a truck stop in Colorado. A truck driver had put money into the machine to buy a soda. The machine malfunctioned and returned his change, and among the quarters and dimes that came clattering out was this odd-looking penny that caught his eye because it looked wrong. It was heavier than normal, the color was off, and when he looked closer, he could see those multiple strikes creating this weird, overlapping image of Lincoln. Now, this truck driver wasn't a coin collector, didn't know much about numismatics, but he was smart enough to recognize that something unusual was going on with this coin. So instead of spending it or tossing it aside, he put it in his wallet, and when he got home, he went online and started researching, typing things like weird penny and penny struck multiple times into search engines. And eventually he stumbled across forums and websites dedicated to error coins, and that's when he realized he might have something valuable. He reached out to several coin dealers, sending them photographs of both sides of the coin, close-ups of the mint mark, pictures of the edge showing that partial collar error, and within hours his phone was ringing off the hook with dealers and collectors offering to buy the coin sight unseen, some offering thousands of dollars, others tens of thousands, and one particularly excited dealer even offered $100,000 on the spot. But this truck driver was smart. He said no to all the immediate offers and instead contacted a major auction house that specializes in rare coins and arranged to have the coin professionally authenticated and graded. The authentication process took several weeks and involved some of the world's leading experts in error coins and Lincoln pennies specifically. They examined the coin under electron microscopes, used X-ray fluorescence to confirm the silver composition, studied the die markers and characteristics to verify it was genuinely struck at the Denver Mint in 1983 and not some clever modern forgery. And when all the tests came back positive, when every expert agreed that this was absolutely the real deal, the coin received a grade of MS 65. Which is remarkable for an error coin because typically coins with such dramatic striking errors show significant surface problems. But this one was relatively clean, with good eye appeal despite all its irregularities. And that grade combined with the unprecedented nature of the errors created the perfect recipe for a record-breaking auction. The auction itself became the stuff of legend in the numismatic world. Major news outlets picked up the story. Financial news networks covered it as a human interest piece about incredible luck. Social media exploded with people sharing stories of their own coin finds, and collectors around the globe arranged their schedules to participate in the bidding either in person, by phone, or online. When the auction began, bidding immediately jumped to $1 million, then $2 million, then $5 million. And as the price climbed higher and higher, spectators in the auction house gasped and applauded. Phone bidders shouted their offers, and online bidders frantically clicked their maximum bid buttons, pushing the price up and up and up until finally, after nearly 20 minutes of intense competition, The hammer fell at $40 million, the winning bidder being an anonymous collector who reportedly represents a private numismatic museum dedicated to preserving the world's most extraordinary error coins. The sale made international headlines, catapulted the truck driver from modest means to incredible wealth, and permanently established the 1983 Lincoln Penny as the most valuable modern coin in existence. But here's what's absolutely crucial for you to understand. This coin is not necessarily unique. Mint errors of this magnitude sometimes affect multiple coins before the problem is identified and fixed, which means there could theoretically be other 1983 pennies out there with similar or related errors. Maybe not worth $40 million, but potentially worth millions nonetheless. This is why checking your 1983 pennies is absolutely essential. Look for any unusual weight or color that might indicate a wrong planchet. Examine the strike carefully for any signs of doubling or multiple impressions. Check the edge of the coin to see if it's uniform thickness or if one side is thicker than the other. Use a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass to look for signs of die doubling in the lettering. And if you find anything that seems off, get that coin authenticated immediately, because you could be the next person to make headlines with an incredible discovery. The story of these three Lincoln pennies: the 1979 worth $22 million, the 1978 worth $25 million, and this incredible 1983 worth $40 million, teaches us the most important lesson in coin collecting. Never assume a coin is ordinary just because it looks ordinary at first glance, because hidden beneath that familiar surface could be errors, rarities, and characteristics that make it worth more than most people earn in their entire lives. These coins prove that treasure hunting isn't just about metal detectors on beaches or diving for sunken ships. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight, in our pockets, in our change jars, in the change we get back at the grocery store, and all it takes to find them is curiosity, patience, and the willingness to look closely at things everyone else ignores. So I challenge you right now. After watching this video, go through every penny you can find, check the dates, examine them carefully, look for anything unusual, and who knows, maybe you will be the next person featured in a story about discovering a $1 million coin. Thank you so much for watching Error Coins Hunter. If you found this video valuable, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin discoveries, and drop a comment below telling us if you've ever found anything unusual in your change. We love hearing your stories. Remember, fortune favors the observant. Every penny deserves a second look, and your next coin check could change your life forever. So get out there and start hunting, because somewhere out there, there's a fortune waiting to be discovered, and it might just have your name on it. Happy hunting, stay curious, and never stop believing that extraordinary things can hide in the most ordinary places.